it's now the greatest opportunity in a long time for people to be able to start new on YouTube and bring fresh blood, fresh perspective, fresh videos, fresh content to the platform and grow their channel and grow their business.
Hi, and welcome. This is The Road to Revenue. This is the podcast where we talk to our creators to understand really the bumps in the road, the twists, the turns, and what happened on their own road to revenue. Joining me today, I have the absolutely amazing Blaine Locklair. Welcome, Blaine.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the invitation to be a part of the podcast. I have been a Geniuslink subscriber for a few years now. So when you reached out to me, it was a very exciting opportunity, and I'm really proud to be here. Thank you.
Oh, brilliant. Well, can you tell us, can you start off by telling our audience a little bit around your channel? Tell us what it is, the content that you're creating.
Sure. I started YouTube actually quite a while back, around 2008. I was making some occasional car videos, like you can take a door panel off of your Dodge by doing this kind of videos. And those videos actually are still on YouTube. Around 2019 is when the channel I have now started in its current format. I had 2 subscribers, and one of them was my wife. So there literally is an origin story for everybody, because everybody has to start from 0 subscribers and build their channel from there. So from there, I decided to start making content about video game systems and how to repair and upgrade them. But I have to give a quick shout out to my buddy Danny, who is Mr. Mario 2011. He is the reason that I started this channel in the format in which I have it now. He's been on YouTube doing this for over a decade at this point. So I watched one of his videos about how to modify and upgrade a PlayStation portable system. And so he really is the reason that I got into this, because I used one of his guides and it worked, and I was so impressed with it and enjoyed the process so much that I started getting into the idea of how do we modify and upgrade video game systems to get the most out of them. So from there, I started making some videos about it and posting them up on YouTube.
Have you always been into games then? Like, I mean, you've got like a wide variety of games that you actually mod and upgrade. Has that always been your thing? Absolutely.
My first video game system, I'm 51 years old. So my first video game system was Pong. I had one of those Pongs, like Sears Telepong systems, and you hook it up to a black and white television, and so it had like these 2 little like connectors that you would put on the back where like the antenna would go on your black and white TV. They call them like the rabbit ears, you know, the 2 antennas that stuck off the top of the TV. So I had that. And I went from there to Atari and Intellivision and ColecoVision and computers like the original Texas Instruments TI-99 4A computer, the original Apple IIe computer with the green screen on it. And at 17 years old, the guy sitting next to me in my science class in high school in November of 1989 said, "Hey, I work for this company called Babbage's. It's a game store in the mall. We're hiring. You should come. You know a lot about this stuff. You should come apply for it." And I said, "Okay, I will." So I did. And after the Christmas season was over, they let him go and kept me. and I ended up working all the way up to store manager for Babbage's in Greenville, South Carolina at the Haywood Mall. So I went a pretty long way with Babbage's. Babbage's is now GameStop. And so, yes, this has all been a part of my life since I was very young and all the way up into adulthood as part of my professional career.
So you started off on YouTube with very, very different content. You know, going from cars to games, a big switch from one to the other, and that inflection point where you were inspired to start creating your own videos and pivot that channel. Did you bring along learnings from your previous videos when you started moving on into games?
I did, and I brought along the wrong learnings when I came along from those videos. I had like these really long, like 20 to 25 second introductions, like the Like now you see the flashy logos where people take the graphic or their logo and they spin it. I'm sorry about the mic. Spin it around in circles and have all these flashy things, and they basically just waste time at the beginning of videos. Yeah, I took along a lot of the wrong learnings about all of that. In fact, I started making videos as everybody does, like your first or your worst, and that's part of the learning process. So I started making videos, and they weren't fantastic as everybody else's part of their learning journey does. And somewhere within, it took me 5 months, by the way, to get monetized. So I went from the 2,000 to the 1,000 subscribers and got into that 4,000 watch hour period. Somewhere around that same point, around 5 months, it took me that much time. And that's different for everybody, of course, depending upon their journey. Somewhere around the 300 subscriber mark, I put up a video and I got blistered really good for it. And because it was related to the Xbox and it was something I thought was completely revolutionary and brand new, and it had been on the market for a long time. So I kind of learned that one the hard way, as we all do as part of our learning journey. And I got blistered really good for it. And I'm really, really thick-skinned. So for me to look at all of that and go, maybe this isn't the right thing for me, and decided maybe I should either take a break from this or just quit. This isn't the right thing. And so I had this, the truth, you know, the great thing about the truth is it just never changes. I had this Elgato recorder, and I took it back to the store and got a refund. I'm like, I don't think this is the right thing for me. So about 2 days went by, and I said, you know, maybe I should take another look at this. I said, there's one thing that's a constant in my life, is not quitting. So I went and bought the Elgato back. I brought it back home and hooked it back up. And I said, you know what? Fail forward. Find out what you did that didn't work and don't repeat it, and try new things. And that kept me going. It sustained me to go, you know what? Everyone has to learn from their mistakes and fail forward. And that it is a learning journey, and that you've never failed at anything that you haven't quit. And so I took that, and that propelled me to keep going.
I love that you actually went all the way to take it back, and then completely went, hang on a minute, I'm not giving up, and then went to go get that Elgato back. That's absolutely brilliant. What are some of the other milestones that you've hit, and how'd you feel when you went through them?
The point that I realized that I was not going to continue to hit milestones, significant milestones, until I changed me, changed my education on YouTube, and changed the way that I approach things, was probably the most important milestone I ever hit. And I started working with a consultant named Daniel Batal. Daniel is a well-respected YouTube consultant. And somewhere around 20,000 subscribers or so, and that would have been, I think, at the beginning of 2022, I started thinking, I'm not going to get better at this until I get me better at this. Like, all of the gear and all of those things are great, but the most important thing that I need to upgrade are my own soft skills. So I started getting some consultations with Daniel, and they were transformative. And so I think maybe the biggest level up that anyone can get for their YouTube channel is to get with someone that can help them sharpen their saw. John Maxwell, who is one of the people that I have great respect for, and he has taught a lot of lessons to me along my own journey, talks about the law of the lid. So, for example, if you are at let's say you're at a 6 out of 10 for what you do, you have to find somebody that's at least a 7 or higher to help you bring up your own lid. So finding people that are farther along in the journey than you are, that can help you, they can give you a hand and help build you up to where they are, is really going to be one of the keys to success with YouTube. It's not just whether, you know, if you have a fancy camera and a fancy microphone and a fancy computer and all of those things, but at the end of the day, your skill set, your presentation, how you craft your videos and all of those things is not sound, all of the gear won't help you. So working on your own skill set and your soft skills is going to be a huge key to YouTube success.
In building those skill sets then, How many would you say were, because you've talked about the soft skills, how many of those would you say were external, and how much of that was internal, where it was maybe reframing or changing how you approach the creativity and developing ideas? And what would you say the balance was?
Most of it is external. And what I mean by that is no one can really reach their potential alone. If you just sit in your I think it was Meredith Marsh that called it your YouTubicle. So if you sit at your space where you have your camera and your microphone and all of those things, and you work in a vacuum, in isolation, and no one else helps you sharpen your saw, you will never get any better than where you are in that moment. It always takes one person to educate another. No one can learn in a vacuum. So I really feel like that the majority of it has been about getting with other people who can help you build your skill sets to create your best content. It is not something that's natural to stare at a camera, which is what I'm doing right now. He's actually over to the monitor on the side, and I am staring directly into a camera. It's not natural to just stare at a camera, at a lens, and conceptualize in your mind that you are talking to a person by doing that. That's a skill set. That's a soft skill. It's one of those things where, as you continue to work on things like your camera presence, which is a soft skill, which people can teach you, to work on your audio, to work on skills like, is your microphone too loud or too quiet? Do you have a microphone at all? One of the smartest decisions I made early on was not to use an onboard microphone on a camera. I bought and I used it for 3.5 years. It's a Samson Q2U microphone. It's a $69 microphone in US dollars, and it has USB and XLR built into this microphone, and you can connect it up. It has an interface built right in. And not only can you connect this microphone directly to your computer, you can connect it directly to your phone, and it will power it right off the phone. Just getting something small like that, but understanding that this is a huge difference maker, that audio is 50% of video, is transformative. But you will not know that without having other people educate you to help you along your journey. And so if it's a matter of internal or external, I think the external education is the key to your internal success.
So was there a moment when, thinking that evolution that you've gone through, that development, was there a video that you recall producing and looking back and just saying to yourself, well, yeah, you know what? This is a good representation of, I'm taking that step forward. I'm taking that. Did you see that step change, or was it gradual?
No, I mean, I do think there is a video that was part of that, because it helped me connect with other people that were in the space. I made a video about whether or not installing a solid-state drive into a PlayStation 3 game system makes an actual difference as to whether or not it runs any faster or not. I put this video up, and that was when Danny, Mr. Mario 2011, who is very well known in this gaming space, reached out to me and said, hey, I saw your video and I thought it was really good. And so to me, it was the most important video I had made to that point. And it wasn't because it had lots of views or gained lots of subscribers or any of those things. It was because it created a connection between another person that I trusted and respected, and I consider a friend, in that space. And I think the lesson that I learned from that is you never know who's watching your content. So always make your next content your best content, and remember that you just don't know who's watching. There might be a very famous celebrity, someone in your space, someone that can add value to you, or someone that you have transformed their life in some way. Like, a lot of people don't make gaming content. They make content that's about helping other people achieve their goals or get healed emotionally or some other thing. You never know who's watching your content. So that they may reach out to you and it might transform your life, or you may be creating some content that reaches out and touches someone else. So I think, to me, that was the piece of content that really changed the way that I thought about YouTube, which was someone's always watching and you just never know who it is. So always have your best foot forward and be prepared for the opportunities that may be presented to you from it.
Having that impact within the space and being recognized for your contribution into a specific niche is absolutely brilliant. And it is, like you say, that's testament to the quality of the material, the content that you're putting out there.
Thank you.
It's so at what point did when you obviously hit monetization, at what point did revenue become, was it a driver? Was it was it something that was an afterthought? Where did revenue sit with you in your journey, and where does it sit now?
Just like a lot of folks, when the pandemic hit, I started in August of 2019 in the current format. In 2020, a lot of YouTube channels swelled. They went up in views, they went up in subscribers, and it made a big difference. A terrible situation, but for people that were stuck at home, they watched a lot of YouTube, among other things. And so a lot of channels really grew during that period, and mine did as well. Things kind of leveled off after that, as everyone did. And it became the new normal. At that point, I still hadn't considered YouTube to be sort of a full-time job. It wasn't something I did and said, this is my job, this is my jam. I was still growing. So even in that swell period, I had 8,000 to 10,000 subscribers, and I don't remember exactly how much I made, but it was hundreds of dollars a month, maybe in ad revenue. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't a big thing. Now it's different, and the subscriber base is large by some standards. Anyway, it's 150 some odd thousand subscribers, but it's not the subscribers that.
Brilliant, yeah.
Well, thank you. But it's not the subscriber count that drives the success. It's can you continue to get people to watch a video and then continue to watch the next video, because YouTube obviously wants to keep people on the platform as long as possible. So I think that's been a big part of it, is learning. And again, that's soft skills. It's learning how to get people to watch your content, stay watching your content, and most importantly, after that, is get them to watch the next piece of content and not leave your channel and not leave the platform. Mm-hmm. So that's been a transformative thing. From there, ad revenue is an inconsistent process. It goes up during the year and it goes down. Like during the Christmas season, just like with retail, the advertisers are definitely interested in getting as many ads out as they can to try to sell as much stuff while people are spending money during Christmas. So November and December, say, ad revenue swells up. That kind of continues on a little bit toward the beginning of the year, and by summertime, it goes down. At least in my experience, it's gone down about 33 to 40% maybe. Then it goes back up again towards the end of the year. I had a friend I still do have a friend named Earl, and he used to say that when somebody went to work where we worked at, they had to stay there 2 years in order to fully understand what the cycle of things was like, and so you would know what you have in them as an employee. And what he meant was, when somebody comes on board, they have to see at least a full year worth of something to understand how a cycle works. Like if you work in retail, you would start in January and go, it's dull, there's nothing going on. We'll probably be scrubbing shelves or doing whatever it takes to just, recover from the holiday season. Summer comes around and people are vacationing, but then November hits, and from that period of time through December, things are crazy. But you really don't fully understand that entire cycle until you have experienced it as an employee. Then the second year, you already have seen everything. So you would be at your best probable position to fully succeed, and knowing that you've already experienced everything that you're going to see at that point. And you know what? I think that applies to YouTube as well. And here's why. I realized at that point that starts to apply to a lot of things. My son is a big NFL fan, and I'm at least a casual NFL fan, but I noticed something about quarterbacks. If they have big success, it's always in the second year. It's never as a rookie. They have to see the full cycle of things from beginning to end in order to have success. You look at Dan Marino, we went to the Super Bowl in his second year. You look at Ben Roethlisberger, second year. Tom Brady, second year. Brock Purdy and the 49ers just won the NFC Championship, and Brock Purdy is in his second year. It's almost a guarantee that it's a second-year thing. So if that applies to all of these other things, it applies to YouTube as well. And if I had given up a few months in, I would have never seen all of the things I just talked to you about with the ad revenue and going up and down and the learning processes and the evolution. I wouldn't have seen any of that had I quit too early. And so I think maybe that starts to apply to YouTube as well. If you've given it at least 2 years, and maybe there's just no growth, and first of all, check and make sure that you're sharpening your saw. Make sure that your skill set's improving and you're not working in a vacuum. But I wouldn't quit anything that you're ambitious to do without at least giving it that 2 years, because it just seems to work in so many different systems.
There's a lot of wisdom in that. The living it, understanding what's coming, and then having that in that second year to be able to prepare for it, not just physically and organizationally, but just mentally as well, and understand busy's coming, understanding that there's a slow period coming, understand what's required to get through it and be able to weather it. So with where you are now then, talk a little bit around ad revenue. Can you talk me through your revenue streams at the moment?
Absolutely. So my primary revenue stream is AdSense, and there is some danger to that. And I want to share with you a little story that, a story that I have seen around my town here in Summerville, South Carolina, and it reminded me of something Roberto Blake said. He said that there is a danger to building on what's called rented land. So it means, for example, if you build everything on someone else's platform and something happens to that platform, you're out of business. So you have to be aware of that there is a risk there. There's a risk to me building on YouTube, for example. And my story behind that is, right here in town, there was a restaurant, and it was called Mellow Mushroom. It used to be I think it was a Perkins. It was a Perkins restaurant. It got torn down. And so a Mellow Mushroom restaurant got built up, and it was not very good. Beautiful building, but not very good. They lasted maybe 2 years, and the next thing you know, they were closed. And I'm telling you, within 2 days, that building that probably cost them $1 million to build was demolished to the ground and the land completely cleared. I'd never seen anything torn down without a wrecking ball as fast as that building got demolished and torn down. And stuck out right in front of the piece of property was a sign that said "Land for Lease." You see, they built all of that on someone else's property. They sunk the whole thing into someone else's property. So when they closed, they no longer even owned their own building. And it's entirely possible, although I can't verify it, it's entirely possible they even had to pay for the demolition cost to get their own building that they constructed off those people's property. There is a danger to relying on someone else's property to build up your mini empire. So my primary source of revenue is ad revenue, but there's a danger to that, and I think people should be aware of it. And so that's the first stream of revenue. And the second largest stream of revenue I have is Amazon affiliates. And that's where Geniuslink has come in to be so valuable, is that they really make it so much easier to manage Amazon affiliate or any affiliate program because of the simplicity of it and for the ability to make changes that propagate through all of your videos without having to go back and do it manually one at a time. So here's my story. It was actually Danny. It was Mr. Mario 2011. We were talking about things, and I said, I've got Amazon affiliate. He said, so do I. And he said, this Geniuslink thing, I've been using it for years. And he taught me this strategy, and it's brilliant. So here's what we do. If you put Amazon affiliate links or Genius links that go to Amazon affiliate links in every one of your videos, and they have absolutely nothing to do with the content of your video, then you're probably wasting your time, and you're probably not selling the right things that add value to people and add value to their efforts to achieve their goals. So you're doing yourself a disservice. So if I were to publish let's say I publish a PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4 video, if I put affiliate links in the bottom of that description and they're related to Nintendo, that's not helping anything. What his strategy was, and what he told me to do, was take all of those links, for every individual game system and create a text document. And in that text document, you just put in the Amazon product, but not necessarily specifically by its individual name. Like you might say, instead of SanDisk branded UHS Class 1 32 gigabyte SD card, it's great. It's a little specific. If you have instead 32 gigabyte SD card for your PlayStation, or well, they don't use SD cards, but let's just say it's for your 32 gigabyte SD card for your Nintendo Wii. Okay, great. Put that and then a Geniuslink directly underneath that. Now you have, and then I've made 10 of them for each, and then save a text document, and they'll say PS3 merch, Wii merch, Nintendo Switch merch, whatever it is. Make those little text documents. Now you go and you take each of those Geniuslinks. And when you do that, you put in the Amazon affiliate link that's related to it inside Geniuslink. So you can now take all of that stuff and copy it and just paste it into your description specific to each type of video content. So for example, here, if I make a PlayStation 3 video, I go to PS3 merch, copy the text out of that and paste it directly into the description. I don't have to repeat this work over and over. It's already there. And of course, because Geniuslink monitors what's called link health. In other words, if you put an affiliate, Amazon affiliate, say, on a Geniuslink, and it goes out of stock or it becomes unavailable, you'll get notified in your dashboard of that. Then you can simply choose another product. So let's just say SanDisk 32 gigabyte goes out of stock, but PNY 32 gigabyte is in stock. Now you just plug one in for the other, and you don't have to change all of your descriptions because it propagates to all of your video descriptions. So now you have a pre-established template for what you want to put in your descriptions, and you can go into the Geniuslink dashboard and just decide, look, I just want to change out SanDisk for PNY because it's out of stock. Just make that simple change, and everything falls into line. That and the fact that Geniuslink can also push the affiliate code for Amazon all over the world as part of the various Amazon affiliate programs have been transformational to my affiliate earnings. So to just give you the bottom line on it all and land the plane, I get somewhere around $10,000 a year in Amazon affiliate earnings. Not that Amazon gets. They probably get some astronomical number, some six-figure astronomical number of that. But I get somewhere around $10,000 a year in net from that, and I typically it's very interesting because a lot of marketers say if you can convert at 1%, like for example, if you send out an email and 1% of people buy whatever you're selling or click on your link or whatever it is, they take some action that earns you something. 1%'s really good. I get about 8 to 9% conversion at Amazon through Geniuslink. That's transformational. The Geniuslink has been a tool and a partner in helping me create sustainable revenue for my business.
One of the phrases I go back to, Geniuslink is by definition, and by design, is a helper technology. It is something to assist creators to help to make that whole customer journey much smoother, much easier, much nicer, but also to be able to take a lot of the heavy lifting, like you say, changing out links, changing out descriptions, actually to remove a lot of the need for that. And I think your approach, because I'm always looking at conversion, and one of the things I do love is that in your YouTube descriptions talking about solving the problem, not specifying which of the products. So whether it be SanDisk, whether it be PNY, that's really not what someone's looking for. What they're looking for is an SD card for their Wii. That's the problem. Right. It's the classic of people don't buy drills, they don't buy drill bits. What they're buying is a hole. The drill and the drill bit are just the way to get the hole.
That's right.
And I like that approach, and there's a lot of sense in that in terms of the workflow to make that nice and easy and straightforward. Great that it's had such an impact, But the business of YouTube, right? Like the business of YouTube that you started touching on. Tell us your philosophy on that, and what's important about building a business around YouTube.
I like to think about it this way. When you go to work for an employer, one of the first things they have you do is fill out tax documents, right? So that you can cover whatever withdrawals they have to take and how much and that sort of thing. When you sign up for an AdSense account with YouTube, you know what you have to fill out? Tax documents. So if you would go to your employer and treat yourself and your employer as a business, and then go to YouTube and fill out tax documents for AdSense, and then decide, yeah, but it's cool, this isn't a business, it's a missed opportunity and a very important one. YouTube, once you start earning money from something, it's a business. Now, if you're on YouTube and your goal is, I want to share my family's memories with people and that kind of thing, and it's a hobby, then you don't have to worry about it. But if you're going to earn money from anything, you have to start thinking about it as a business. Because Mary Thornley, who's the president of Trident Technical College, used to say, you cannot pay for recurring expenses with non-recurring funds. So when it comes to how are you going to keep this sustainable for the long haul, you have to make a profit. Zig Ziglar used to say that people would come up to him and go, it's just wonderful that you have a business that's focused around being able to help so many people. And he says, well, my business mission is to make a profit. And they were kind of stunned, like you'd hit them in the face with a bucket of cold water or something. Like, how can that be? And he says, well, my mission is to make a profit so that I can use it to help so many people around the world. So you have to think about, when you sign tax documents and get started in a business, how you are going to make it sustainable and profitable. If you don't, you can't use your business to do the things you want to do. I want to help people level up their video game systems and mod and upgrade and enjoy their game systems. Get them out of the drawer, get it out of the closet, bring it out, hook it back up, and enjoy it in some whole new way. I can't do that without earning a profit first to be able to provide to get the education necessary, to get the technology necessary, the resources necessary to make that possible. One of the things that I have seen a lot lately, and I may ruffle a little feathers with this, but I think it's an important conversation to leverage, is I've seen a lot of people that have quit YouTube lately. And one of the things that they have talked about is the kind of like a common thread through it, is that they have almost all said that things grew to the point that they were basically either not enjoyable to them or that they had just got out of control in some way or another. But if you go in and you say, I just want to make videos, and then you've signed the tax documents and you made this a business, you have to start thinking about it as a business immediately and start thinking about what happens. What does growth look like in a year? What does growth look like in 2 years or 5 years? Do I still want to be doing this in 5 years? You have to really start thinking about, how are you going to create sustainability for the long haul? And as soon as you say, well, I'm going to bring somebody else in, I'm going to hire somebody and bring somebody else in, you're responsible for making sure and leading those people to the same common goal of your channel, your message, your method, your business profit, and all of those things. If you go into it and you don't have those skills, they're soft skills. If you go into them and you don't have the education and experience and soft skills necessary, you have to get it, or you may very well end up in a situation where things grow and you're simply not able to manage and lead and deal with them. And so I think that's a key component of sustainability, is being ready for growth, because in a lot of cases it's going to come to an individual creator, and they have to be ready to deal with this sustainably for the long haul, not just for the well-being of their business, but for their own well-being, for their enjoyment, for the process. And YouTube is fun. And I've thought about this a lot too, with all of the people that have left YouTube. I wonder, and I know some of them haven't, how many of them have ever gone out and worked full-time somewhere for a boss? because working for a boss is a proposition that can be really great or really awful. And if you can take all this is why I harped on all this business stuff, because if you can build something that is sustainable for your business and YouTube and the things that you're doing, and you educate yourself properly with the soft skills that are necessary, you are going to be able to build your best life for yourself. There are many people who are leaving the 9 to 5 grind and reporting to somebody else who might very well be quite miserable to work for, and they are now their own boss. If you have the drive to get up out of bed in the morning and go, I'm not going to sit around and read the newspaper or drink coffee or do those things for hours on end, I'm going to get up, get to work, and work just like I'm working for someone else, but I'm going to get in there and go to my YouTubicle and get to work and hustle and grind. You will be your own boss, and you won't have somebody staring over your shoulder and making demands of you. You'll have the skill set that you need, the business setup, the sustainability, the profitability, and the things necessary to make this your long term. And I believe that you have the opportunity to really live an incredible life because of it.
That's incredibly solid advice and inspiring as well. I love that the approach of almost taking it seriously, right? Boiling it down into having intention, actually thinking through what you're getting into, what you want out of it, and then gearing how you structure your day, how you structure your week, how you actually structure delivering your content around what that ideal is. I think it makes a lot of sense to be like super intentional. Interesting you talk about whether people have had another role, or whether it's been with a great boss, with a bad boss, or how much do you think is around expectations?
I think each individual creator has their own circumstance with that. So in some cases, like for example, I'm 51 years old. I'm actually retired from state government employment. So I have a retirement pay and health insurance for the rest of my life. I have a pretty strong foundation behind me to be able to have just started from 2 and built something like this. It's not the case for everybody, especially younger people who are still in the grind and the hustle, and their situation's very different. They're like, I'll just try to get one video out on a weekend. And that commitment, which to me is like, look, I'm here every day. It's not a problem. To them, it's like, I have 4 hours maybe over the whole weekend to work on something like this, because I've got a child and I don't want to be a bad family person and just shut them out while I work on YouTube all weekend, and the precious amount of time I have to spend with them. So everyone's commitment to what they're able to do is different. There's no right or wrong to that. And I would absolutely say place emphasis on family and love of family ahead of all of that stuff. It's just that everybody gets the same 24 hours. So we can choose how to spend them. And this is why I keep harping on the value of learning and education and soft skills, is because you can spend those 4 hours in the weekend pounding your head on the desk trying to figure out, why is this not working? Why am I not getting views? Why am I not getting subscribers? Why is the editing software not upload or download, or I call it cooking the video? Why is the editing software not cooking or exporting the video properly? Why is it not being uploaded properly to YouTube? Why am I having all these problems? Or you can focus your efforts by dialing in your own skill set and maximize those same 4 hours that you have that everybody else has, and vice versa. So to everyone's content creator journey is going to be different, but you will maximize your efforts if you simply work on dialing in your skill set so that you can focus your efforts and get the most out of your time.
With that, are there some bad habits or myths that you think that people kind of fall into following or believing? Some bad advice that maybe just won't go away?
Well, for me, there was some bad advice. It's not the right part of YouTube for me. So I would say experiment, especially if you're a new creator and you're early in your journey. Experiment, because you might find that one works better than the other, or two or more of them work, or all of them work. But the idea that you must use every single one of them I think it's more important to think about things strategically and see what works best for you and your goals.
Absolutely makes so much sense, putting that the viewer, your audience, putting them at the heart of everything you're doing and engaging them. And I love the advice about, you know, making sure to go in the comments and engaging, keeping it interactive, keep it actually not just expecting your audience to engage, but engaging with your audience. I think that's a really really useful tip. Love the approach to make sure that you're focused on what's working for your channel, for your content, for your audience. I think that does make a lot of sense, and not be driven just by the platform, but be driven by what the needs of your audience are. So what are you most excited now about? Because platforms change and they evolve, and we evolve and develop, as you've talked about. What is it over the next 12 months that you're most looking forward to?
It's opportunity, because as some of the old guard have left YouTube, it's now the greatest opportunity in a long time than ever for people to be able to start new on YouTube and bring fresh blood, fresh perspective, fresh videos, fresh content to the platform and grow their channel and grow their business. I think it's a fantastic opportunity. And that to me is, I watch a lot of YouTube, and I think that's an important part of being a good creator. If you don't look at YouTube, how do you know what's going on YouTube and what's working and what's not? Watch some YouTube along the way. It's an important part of building your soft skills, your skill sets, to understand what goes on the platform. I love YouTube. I think it's great. I don't watch TV. I watch YouTube because I can dial in not just an overall channel on a television about, like, well, this is all about home and garden, or this is about automobiles, or this is about technology. I can dial in the exact technology I'm interested in watching. If I wanted to look at something about a car, I can go look at a 1997 Corvette or something. I can look at exactly dialed in what it is I'm looking for. And it's not overproduced. It's made by real people. Not only is there a real person making the content, but there's a real person on the other end of it watching it. And to me, this whole connection between people and the messages that they can get out and the very specific content that you can access either by being recommended to you, and their recommendation systems are pretty solid, or just searching and looking for exactly dialed in what it is that you want, is unprecedented. And new perspectives, new opportunities are going to be welcomed. YouTube loves new content, and they love fresh content. And with some of the folks that have been a part of it going on to other opportunities in their lives, new people can come on board, and they will have a tremendous opportunity here. And small channels have just as much opportunity to grow as large ones do. This is a great thing especially for small creators, to never give up this hope that and don't subscribe to this thought that small channels don't get promoted by YouTube. The smallest channel I remember seeing a promoted piece of content to, and it was probably a month ago. I think they had 60 subscribers. It was right on my homepage, because YouTube doesn't give a rip how many people are subscribed to a channel when it shows the content. It only cares about, is it relevant to the viewer, the individual viewer, and what is the likelihood that they'll watch it? YouTube doesn't bring viewers to videos; they bring videos to viewers. And the video with the least amount of views that I had shown on my homepage within the last month or so was a big fat 0. It had 0 views, and it made it right onto my homepage. So don't think that if you're a small creator that YouTube won't give you exactly the same opportunity to share out your content and try to get it in front of the right people that it would if you have 100+ million subscribers and 100 million views on videos. It will look for the right content to put in front of the right viewer. And if that isn't a powerful opportunity moving forward, I don't know what is. It's an amazing time to be a creator on YouTube.
I absolutely couldn't agree more. That is absolutely so true. It's such an amazing time. I just want to say you've been an incredible, incredible guest. I really appreciate you joining. Do you have one little bit of advice that you'd like to leave our audience with today?
I would simply say that I call them the 4 T's. No matter what, no matter which process YouTube goes through, like for example, they have the previews where, for example, if you're on mobile and you're scrolling, that the thumbnails disappear within 2 seconds or something like that. No matter what, the 4 T's always still apply. Topic, timing, thumbnail, and title. The topic that you pick is probably at the top of that hierarchy. In other words, whatever it is that you're wanting to talk about and whether or not it appeals to people in a broad sense or a very niche sense is important. Getting into a very niche audience can be a hugely powerful way to get your content seen. It doesn't have to necessarily be you don't have to paint it with a very broad stroke. Getting into a very niche content can be very important. The timing of it matters. If you put out, for example, if you put out a video right now about unboxing the iPhone 12, well, unboxing iPhones is something people are very interested about, but not that one. That one's 3 years old. The timing's a miss. But if you had something like I think the Samsung Galaxy S23, maybe, or 24, I can't remember. The new Samsung Galaxy just came out. If you put that out right now, it's a banger. People are looking for that stuff. So that's a timing matter. Your thumbnail is important. And as much as anything, rather than giving specific advice about how a thumbnail should be made in terms of how many elements do you have and colors and all of those things, what you really want to think about is to remember that a person is looking at that thumbnail on the other side of the screen, a human being. Does the thumbnail speak to their interest? In other words, did you make something that when they look at it, they go, yeah, I mean, this is what I'm looking for. This is interesting to me. You have 2 seconds for them to make that decision. It's not that people lack attention. You know, there's this old adage that people will only have the attention span of a goldfish or something, like 8 seconds, and it's all nonsense. Otherwise, you couldn't sit and watch a movie. 8 seconds into the opening credits, you just get up and walk out. It's not the case. You have 2 seconds to stop the scroll. And so that's what the thumbnail's meant to do, is catch their attention. It should appeal to them and be like, look, this speaks my language right here. This design language is what it appeals to me. That's what you're looking for, simply to stop the scroll. And then the title tells them exactly what to expect. And the title should be exactly what you are going to tell them or make this video about. Never clickbait, never come up with a title that's one thing and then a video that's another. When you write a title, it should be very clear what it is the person's getting. And within the first few seconds of the video, it should be very clear they're in the right place. So those 4 T's are still relevant no matter whether the thumbnails appear stationary and static on desktop or something, or if they're on mobile and somebody's scrolling with their thumb and the goal is to stop the scroll. Whatever it is, topic, timing, thumbnail, and title will always still be the keys to getting people to at least drill in and watch. Because if you make a banger of a video, one of those videos that should get 100 million views, but people don't click on it, you've lost. So I think the idea is just topic, timing, thumbnail, and title. And if you learn to master those things, and every one of them is a soft skill, if you learn to master those things, you can at least get people in the door to start watching your video and go from there.
Absolutely timeless advice, and also platform agnostic and format agnostic. I love it. Absolutely. That's brilliant.
I have one more thing to think about. If you get lost on this idea about what speaks to people, when you go to the grocery store, go look at the magazine rack by the checkout, because they are masters at getting people's attention. They have about 2 seconds apiece to get you to decide whether to look at the National Enquirer or whether your wife might look at Cosmopolitan, or which of those magazines are there. They're masters at this stuff. Go look at that. And when you look at it and you look at the sea of content that's there, the sea of covers that's there, look at it and go, which one caught my attention and why? And make note of that information. Now, that might be, again, remember to speak the language, because if they're trying to attract a female reader, they might have a magazine cover with pink on the cover and pastel colors and things that speak to the reader. So, but that they are masterful at creating basically thumbnails, because they create magazine covers. Next time you go to the grocery store, take a look there and see what you see. See why it catches your attention and why.
It's a great place for inspiration. I've got it locked in now. I'm definitely going to be doing that myself the next time I walk in the grocery store. You've been an incredible guest today. Thank you so much for your time. Best place that people can find you, Blaine.
Well, they can find me on YouTube at Blaine Locklair, like the @ Blaine Locklair. And I have a website, BlaineLocklair.com. And I'm on the socials under Blaine Locklair. I'm really difficult to find. I'm like all super secrets and all.
I love it. I love it. Brilliant. Thank you again. And really appreciate you sharing your road to revenue.
Gosh, thank you so much for having me on the podcast. But you've been really kind to me, and I appreciate it so much. And Geniuslink has just been a fantastic part of my growth and my journey. So I'm really grateful for it.
Oh, thanks, Blair.